FA Cup have decided that from next year they're going to scrap replays, right? And this has really riled me up big time. This is the biggest cup competition in world football. 44 different winners since it started, from Man United down to Wigan. So many different teams at so many different levels have won this competition. But obviously, in recent history, that has changed because Big Six in this country are an absolute cancer to sport. And instead of there being some even small level of competition from bottom to top in this country, certain teams are happy for football to just be a closed shop, hence them voting to join a Super League. Obviously, we're casting it back a bit here, but look at 60s and 70s, for example. From Everton in 66, there were 13 different winners in 13 years. That is what it should be, you'd think. Since Premier League began and it started to all be about money and nothing else, there's only been 4 different winners that aren't considered a Big Six team. 4 different winners in more than 30 years. But we'll come on to that in a bit more later. Let's have a look at the decision to scrap replays, right? Why it's being done and what effect that'll have on smaller teams in this country. You know, the actual ones that hold up the pyramid. Now, big driving point into why replays are being scrapped, as I'm being told by all higher-ups in FA, Premier League managers, you name it. If they're at top, they've said it. Replays are obviously being scrapped because Premier League teams are playing too many games, right? And wouldn't that be an excellent point, right, if it were true? Straight off bat, your top teams in League 1 and 2 play more. Straight away. They've got an extra 8 league games, with there obviously being more teams in each league. You enter FA Cup 2 rounds earlier. You enter Carabao Cup a round earlier than Prem teams. If there's a Prem team in Europe, you enter Carabao Cup rounds 2 rounds earlier than them. You've got playoffs. You've got Papa John's Trophy as well. That's a full other competition that Premier League teams aren't in. And let's take it to extremes, right, to see how many games these teams actually play. Man City last year won treble. Something that's only ever been done twice in history. They played 38 league games, 6 FA Cup and 13 Champions League. That is the maximum that you can play in them competitions if you go to final in all of them. And 3 Mickey Mouse Cup games as well, because they got to quarters in that. So they've gone far in... They've almost gone as far as you can in everything. That is a total of 60 games, right? Man United being at Europa League, they played 60 games as well. 2 of the literal highest tallies that a Premier League team has played. Let's just have a look at Bolton. Just as an example of a top League 1 team from last season. 46 league games, because obviously they've got more. 2 playoff games, they didn't even get to final, they lost to Barnsley. 1 FA Cup game, they got knocked out in that as well, to Barnsley. And 2 Mickey Mouse games as well, they're out in second round. And 8 Papa John's games, because they got to final of that. That's a total of 59 games, right? So that's 1 less game than a side that won treble, went to final in 3 competitions and a quarter final or another thing. And Bolton didn't even get to playoff final. They got knocked out straight away in FA Cup, and they got knocked out in second round at Carabao Cup. This is just a very bog standard season for a decent League 1 side, and they played 1 less game than City and Man United, who did a treble and went far in Europe respectively. Liverpool this season, they've played 5 less games than Peterborough so far, but that don't fit agenda, does it? Like, that don't fit what we're trying to do here. So not only is that just a blatant lie and a massive exaggeration constantly that Premier League teams play more than lower league teams, which they don't, but Premier League teams have got squads that are twice the size of every EFL team. In fact, the squads are that strong that Premier League under-23 sides are now at Papa John's Trophy. In fact, they're that strong that 6 of these under-21 teams progress further than actual football clubs out at group stage at Papa John's Trophy. So don't go saying that your squads aren't big enough to play kids in cup competitions when your literal kids beat EFL teams regularly in a competition that were designed for small teams to go to Wembley. But obviously that had to be ruined as well, because a little bit of fun there for a small team. Wipe that out now. Bigger squads, much better facilities, a lot more staff that are all the absolute elites at the job, better pitches that you play on every week that don't make you feel like you're running through quicksand that arts tax on your legs, and the same amount of games or less regularly when you're comparing League 1 and 2 teams to Premier League teams, for example. It is a consistent crock of shit that they try and feed you, that Premier League teams consistently play more than EFL teams when they don't. On very freakish examples like a Man City treble or Man United getting to final of both domestic cups and going far in Europe, you might play 1 game more than a team that's gone out in first and second round at domestic cups in lower leagues. You moan about fixture congestion, you do you, man, whatever. You're a big club, you must be right. And this, when I saw this actually just made me laugh my head off. If playing too many games were a genuine concern of Premier League teams, right, then you wouldn't be flying to other end of the globe to play friendly against another Premier League team 3 days after the season's finished, would you? It just... I don't know anymore. It's like there's less... No, I just can't. But thing is, that makes you a little bit of money, doesn't it? So obviously, in fixture congestion, I don't get good out at wind if you could give me 500 grand. Like, at least if you're going to make huge changes to a competition, consult all teams that play in it. Like, there's no way you're going to talk to just 20 teams at top of pyramid that play less games than everyone else, come in at like round 18 or what it actually is, and only consult them and not all the teams that play in it? Surely not. Absolutely no way. Well, you guessed it. These rats all piss in the same pot, and I hate them. I honestly despise them. The next time Perez and Real Madrid propose Super League, I'm going on a march in support. Please, God, let it happen. Get rid of these massive brands that pretend to be football clubs and f*** them off to Super League. Get rid of them. There's absolutely no competition in this country anymore because there's a closed circle of teams that spend 200 million quid every single year on transfers. And these are the same lot that voted against giving money to EFL as well. Because obviously that'd invite a little bit of competition, which they don't want. Why in the last couple of years has so much been changed in football? Who decided that they own this sport to change so much? VAR, under 21 teams in a competition that were designed for smaller sides to get to Wembley and have a chance at winning something. Obviously that had to be changed because there were a little bit of fun there. Removing away goals in Champions League. Blue cards. And now they're scrapping FA Cup replays. Why? Why is all this stuff happening? Leave the game alone, man. All we wanted as fans was safe standing in grounds and a bit of competition. And we get all this instead. Honestly, it is an absolute disgrace that only Premier League teams were consulted about this decision with FA. Like, shall I go to a cow farm and ask them their opinion on McDonald's? What is the logic in asking the 20 teams in England that make more money than every other team in England combined their opinion on a game that makes them the least amount of money? What is the logic? Why don't you go and ask the other 380 teams that play in this competition what they think of replays, and you get a resounding 380, leave me competition alone. But that's just where football in this country is at. Only 20 teams at a time matter. Everyone else, you just do as you're told, you bow down to the powers above. Crystal Palace, Fulham, Forest, Luton, teams that have got lucky with the timing that they're in there and the amount of money that's in Premier League. Look at like Oldham and Swindon who were at Premier League when it actually started before there was shitloads of money in it. You could be where they are. Could be a very easy swap. You got lucky with the timing that you got promoted. And now you're deciding the fate of hundreds and hundreds of teams when you were one of them last year or 2 years ago. Check yourself, honestly. And I keep seeing people say this as well, right? And I'm about to go on a heavy rant about armchair plastics, and I really don't want to. But I am seeing Liverpool and Man United fans from Southend saying that getting rid of replays is a good thing because it gives small teams a better chance of progressing if you go to extra time. You are an idiot. You are an idiot. Smaller teams, right? And this applies more further down pyramid you go. They don't have big squads. They don't have strength in depth. They don't have tens or hundreds of millions of pounds sat on their fucking bench. Non-league teams have got player managers, player chefs, player cheerleaders. They've got 20 people in an entire club, top to bottom. And you think them going to extra time against someone after they've been defending for 90 minutes non-stop against a team in a higher division that are miles better than them, you think they're not going to be absolutely shattered when it gets to extra time? And then they're thinking, fucking hell, I've got to bring Doreen on because all my players are knackered or injured. And you're bringing on hundreds or tens of millions of pounds worth of players on, fresh as a breeze, that are all juiced up. Like, how do you think they've got a chance of winning? They've got no chance. And beside that point, which is absolutely shit, people say that it's better to progress through to the next round rather than get a replay against a better team. No, it's not. People just speak without thinking. If you win it first round proper, you get 41 grand, right? That's a nice little bit of money. Let's just have a look at this year's FA Cup, right, as an example. Crave Valley, who no one had ever heard of before this happened, had got a draw away at Charlton, right? If they'd have gone through it, they'd have got 41 grand, which, you know what, nice. But they're probably going to lose the next round because of Crave Valley. Do you know what I mean? A replay meant they got 75 grand in TV money, half at ticket revenue in both games, which is tens of thousands. Overall, more than 100 grand from this fixture, even though they went and got arseholed in reverse. Crave Valley went 7th tier English football. 100 grand to them is about 5 years worth of revenue made in one replay. It's changed course of the history forever. But thankfully now to FA and Premier League teams that voted on this will never happen again. So thanks a lot. Because Premier League teams have obviously got too many games. I mean, yeah, I'm sure playing your reserves against Tranmere, right, is what's taxing your players. Not a pre-season tour in Asia or America that lasts for 3 weeks, or playing a friendly in Australia, a 20-hour one-way flight 3 days after Premier League season's finished. I'm sure it is the reserve game against Tranmere that's doing that. I'm sure it is. But obviously, one makes you a lot more money than other one. So I wonder where your loyalties lie, eh? I really wonder. Let's just have a look at some of the best things to come from FA Cup replays the last 10 years that'll now never happen again. Full props to this bloke as well, Callum Hallett. I don't want to butcher your name for putting this together, but this is where I'm getting the info from. Bristol City won away at West Ham literally this season. hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds made through ticket sales for Bristol City, and they won. Last season, Grimsby won the replay against Luton, or Luton then went and got to Premier League. Grimsby got to quarters against Brighton, made over £1 million in total from this run, Grimsby, from ticket sales, TV money, everything that comes with it. Something that now will never happen. Brackley beat Gillingham 4-3. That's a National League North side at time going up against a League One team. Lincoln beating Ipswich. This is one of the biggest ones. This took Lincoln to 4th round, right, for the first time in 41 years. The money they got from this run was ridiculous, right? They got to play Arsenal and lost 5-0, but with the money that they made from beating Ipswich in the replay to then going to play in Arsenal, they built a performance centre worth £1.3 million. Lincoln were in National League at this point. £1.3 million on a performance centre when you're in National League, made from this FA Cup run. 2 promotions in 10 years since then. They're now a League One club that are on brink at playoffs this season, and have been on brink at playoffs or in playoff finals before in recent years in League One. All through a replay that they won against Ipswich. Never happening again. And then looking again at FA's statement, right, they've only scrapped replays from first round proper. Remember earlier, right, we're on about teams playing loads of games being reasons that they're scrapping this. There's still replays in all the qualifying rounds. So in the 6 games before the first round proper that some teams play, you can still have replays. But then as soon as it gets to first round proper where there's actual money involved, that's when you get rid of it. Again, you can tell this clearly took a lot of thought and the input of all the teams involved in this competition to make such a decision. You can tell that were well thought out. It's a complete and utter shit show. Loads and loads of teams have come out saying that they can't believe this is happening, which I'm not surprised, but I can believe it's happening because it will only a matter of time. It won't be long until Premier League is a franchised thing. You know, they do stuff like this. They refuse to give more money to EFL, and then at the same time, they're having FFP removed and changed to a system where a club can now spend up to 85% of the revenue on transfers and wages. It never ends. You think these teams are good now, right? You just wait until Big Six are spending £400 million every single summer. And this is when smaller Premier League teams will realise that they've got multiple stab wounds in the back, right? Because as soon as you are any team that into Big Sixer and you've got a player that looks like he's got 2 legs, Premier League will have him. They'll have all of them. It's happening now. Every time the FFP, even now, is filtered so that anybody that's good leaves straight away and goes to one of the 6. That's how everything works. The Premier League is the Super League. That's why they backed out on it, because they thought, hold on a minute, we've got us own one at home. Why give Perez some money for that? We've got the Super League here. They'll all have 2nd and 3rd teams that can finish in top 10 at Premier League. It's so over. No one will win anything ever again. My ideal situation now, right, being honestly completely 100% serious, I'm dying for Super League to come back. I really am. At the time, I'm obviously against it, but then just remove the teams that want to go in it from Premier League. Let your Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, all them just play your Barca, Real Madrid over and over again forever. Let it happen. Let them be like the American way that they do it, where they're just like the big brands, big franchises. Let them do that. Keep proper football to proper teams down here and fuck off. Now just imagine if you actually got rid of like these Big Six dickheads. There'd be actual competition every time. There'd be different teams winning stuff. Like imagine instead of the same top 4 teams every single year, you'd have a top 4 of like Newcastle, Everton, Villa, and Preston. It'd be a fucking great life. It'd be what football's about. I'm hand on heart begging for something to change. I'm begging. Football cannot carry on like this. The decline in competition in past 10 years, or mainly since Leicester won league, there's been nothing. But teams have come close, but no one is going to win anything again. And it's just sad. It cannot carry on like this. And these same clubs are only ones that are allowed to vote on things that change. Do you know what I mean? It's just taking away ways that smaller teams can generate money. Bit by bit, they're just taking everything from you. I do think genuinely that the long-term plan or the vision of these like super teams is to let these teams die, the small teams die. Like your Bury's, when they had Bury and Bolton on a countdown to go bust. 2 clubs that have been in existence longer than the Big Six. They want these clubs to go bust, so that then you think, well, my team's gone, I'll support Man United. I genuinely do think that is the long-term thinking behind these. I really do. It's got to change. I really hope that, I hope my team Barnsley does something. I really hope that teams in lower leagues boycott FA Cup next year. I hope they don't bottle it, but it's got to change, man, because this is just sad. There's no competition, there's no excitement. You know who's winning most of the competition before a ball's even been kicked. You've got a team with 115 charges running around. It's just sad, man. Football's fucking dead. It's gone. But yeah, thanks for watching, boys. Long live the Super League, and I'll see you in a bit.